Hi, everybody. You are going to absolutely enjoy what you're about to watch. I did an interview with Omarian Atman, and although he's been a longtime astrologer friend of mine, and it was such a pleasure to do this introduction, what we uncovered and already knew is that we have such a plethora of experiences to share and information that we have decided to film an interview once a week, and we're going to be talking about various topics. And so the next topic we're going to do is a part 2 called Cosmic Star Lineage, and more in depth and going into our star charts and our lineage. And then we're going to go into vortexes around the world and how it affects us. We're going to also talk about twin flames in the future, and I'm going to bring my husband on, trans channel Mirza. That's going to be super exciting. It'll be the trifecta, and we are going to have a blast. So you don't want to miss any of this. We're super excited, and we've just been waiting a long time to finally be able to do what we're doing now. So enjoy the interview, and if you have any questions, please leave it below. Thank you. Hi, Omarian.
Hi, Oriah.
Oh my gosh, I am so looking forward to this interview. I can't even tell you. And after I started my group, the United Starseed Connections group, I cannot tell you how many people are waiting for this interview too. So I can't wait to get started. And the first thing I want to do, and by the way, for those of you who are just tuning in, my name is Oriah Mirza. I'm a shaman, and I'm a Palladian. I am coming out, and I'm very excited.
In a galactic way.
Intergalactic, that's right, in a galactic way. I'm on Zoom right now, and we were having a lot of technical issues this morning, so it has something to do with just being overloaded, and my fan on my computer is going, so if you hear any background noise, that's what it is. Okay, so what we're going to be discussing today is going to be star origins, astrology, how to map and trace our cosmic lineage and our ancestry. Omarian Atman is one of the most prolific master astrologers that I have ever met, and my husband is a master trans channel, so we meet a lot of astrologers, and Omarian, he is literally galactic. I mean, he barely lives on this planet. And we love that about him. He reminds us of the gatekeeper in the movie Thor. I mean, he's just that extraordinary, and we've been friends a long time. I'm not sure how long. Do you recall how long we've been friends?
Yeah, we've been friends since 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies. So, Omarian,
and I love you both so much.
Omarian has read not only me and Riz multiple times, but he has read everybody in my family, all my kids, my friends, people, clients. We send him people all the time because he is just so accurate. He's so in depth. He goes so far out, further out than any astrologer I've ever read and or seen. And he's going to explain all of that to you. So I'm definitely not going to take any words out of his mouth. But I want to make some quick announcements before we get started to all you starseeds out there. So Facebook group has a feature that you can have a online group session, like a chat room, and we can all talk to each other live. And I'm going to create an event coming up soon, and I know everybody's coming from different time zones, so I'd like to set it up in a time. I'm going to look at the zones and see which is the best time that could work for majority of people. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick a topic, and I'm going to moderate, of course. I'm going to log in, and everyone will log in who wants to be a part of the event, and we could all see each other in real time. We could all talk. Omarian, you're totally welcome to join that if you want to. It's going to be really exciting. So that's next. Okay. So we are going to launch into the question and answer period. So Omarian, here's my little cheat sheet. What is legacy astrology, and how does it differ from mainstream astrology?
Okay, so legacy astrology is taking the viewpoint that we all knew the plan before physical 3D embodiment, before the birth process, before the quote-unquote veil was put over our minds and our perceptions right before birth. And it helps you to find all of the amazing Easter eggs of your life. It's like the best Easter egg hunt you'll ever discover. It helps you see the difference between your free will, divine will, cosmic law, and how they all intertwine with each other. And so, rather than using the system of astrology as a form of vanity, like just to know if certain events happen in your life, we can do that as well. But more importantly, legacy astrology helps the individual to really understand how they work in life, their processes, from emotions to perceptions to mental attributes, to discovering the power of how their soul integrates with their spirit and life itself to manifest things more accordingly in the desire of who they are and why they're actually here. So the legacy system helps people get really clear on their path, their destiny, and their fate, and then how to give their gifts to the world. And then it also includes, looking a bit into the possible future.
And this is a little off script, but what about, many people are very interested in their soul lineage. Is there a way to map out the star system so you can see past lives or where you came from in this incarnation or what is your ruling planet?
Definitely, yeah. The thing about the past life understanding, it's not just about the planet Earth. That's the thing. So there are ways to use this system to, rather than making the Earth as a central point of observation of the stargate the soul enters into physical human embodiment, you can also pick other star systems itself to get a better idea of how the person is actually functioning before the human role, because part of that role before the human experience is greatly still in effect, and it's more perceived in terms of soul responses. So this is why we have all these translations of different star systems like the Pleiades, Taurus, Vega, Lyra, but the soul of each individual person actually filters through into the galaxies, into star systems before it migrates here. So it's carrying with it like a long lineage of intergalactic memory.
Yes.
And it's all right in here, it's all right inside of us, but it's not really accessed. So this system allows someone to, through conversation and dialogue, to start gently unfolding the memories. Does that make sense?
Yes. A lot of people feel that they have multiple lineages and they don't just resonate with just one star system. And that could explain that for sure. So let's go a little deeper into the science. So what is the science behind legacy astrology?
Okay, so I can cover that in a basic sense for the sake of the recording and the time that we have. There's a term called astrobiological communication. This is a term that means, in essence, the solar light from our star, our sun, in addition to the sound waves it's producing, in addition to the rotation and sound waves of each planet in our solar system, all of these are creating this wonderful, beautiful cake layer of frequency that overlaps. And it bounces everywhere in the solar system, and it layers itself right through our planet, all the physical matter here. So there are certain particles that we have in physics terminologies, like neutrino particles, tachyons, things like this. These are vibrational forces that are being emanated from our sun, bouncing off the atmosphere of other planets, mixing with the vibrations of planets. And it is a continuous, unending stream of frequencies that overlap and influence the atomic structure within our very bodies itself. So in a way, for instance, to shorten that term, if Jupiter is in the sky at the time that you're being developed in your mother's womb at a certain time of the year, and then it's at a certain position at the time of your birth, those two positions indicate how the frequency of Jupiter itself was actually like molding, like dough when you make a cake, molding your subatomic structure, actually imprinting its frequency into your genetic body. thereby causing your molecules and atoms to resonate at a certain pitch. Okay? This pitch is then recognized by other forms of frequency, other vibrations, and either gives you access to certain experiences or perceptions within those experiences, or helps other people have access because of your unique vibration. And just like snowflakes, human beings on soul level and vibration level, they're just as unique. Like, there's not one exactly the same as the next person, like snowflakes sitting next to each other. So this is kind of the observation that we go into and why.
Well, what's exciting about this science, what's exciting is there's some people who this might go right over their head if they don't know exactly what you just said. But what's exciting, and because I've worked with you and I know you, is you didn't just make this up out of thin air. Where this came from was you reverse engineered. Your chart work has literally, because I've been there when you have had discoveries, which you're always constantly discovering more. And you're showing me on the chart, like you see how this just happened and then you correlate it with our characterizations, our birth chart, like our solar. I just lost my train of thought. What is it called when you're born in your solar, in your sun and your moon? So, and you take those aspects and then you match. It's like codes. It's like a mapping. And I've seen you have these big moments of realization, like, oh my God, you get so excited about this. And that's where this is coming from. It's not just, oh, this sounds good and you just made it up. You actually you can back this.
I've been to the fire of using the system on myself in my own life.
That's a good way.
So who I am, the light and the dark in me, and understand how they actually work. And to not be a victim to any force that I'm generating or manifesting in my life. It helps me to understand what's going on and to be really more conscious individual, to be way more aware. So one of the things I want to mention to you and everyone else is that the vibrations I was talking about from planets are real. I mean, a lot of people believe that because they're told in a vacuum like space there is no sound, but that's kind of a misnomer. See, our ears are designed to hear sound in a carbon-based atmosphere. But there are sound waves in space, and you can go to NASA.com, where you can Google planet sounds by NASA, and I think it was the Voyager 1 space probe that was launched like over 40 years ago. It actually is leaving our solar system as we speak, going past Pluto. So it has been recording the vibrational sound waves of each planet. And I highly recommend people listen to these sounds because it will blow your mind. And especially if you listen to the planet that you are as an astrological sign, like all the Sagittarius is out there, listen to what Jupiter sounds like. All the Scorpios out there, listen to what Pluto sounds like. You'll be amazed.
That is incredible. So what star system are you from?
The magic question. So everything I've been discovering from Lyra, that's my most recent stargate as a soul before I came here to this physical embodiment.
Wow.
So, I mean, I say that, but technically my mother is my most recent stargate.
What are your birth sign and your numbers and your codes?
That's kind of a secret, but I will tell you this.
Okay, say what you feel comfortable saying.
Yeah, I was born on December the 12th.
Okay.
So by the mainstream astrology, I'm what's called a Sagittarius, right? Okay. But by the real calendar, that actually includes the 13th sign. I'm actually what's called an ophiuchus, or focus, however, potato, however you want to say. And it's actually not a new sign. It's been in the zodiac for thousands and thousands of years. It's in Egypt written in stone with all the other zodiac signs. It's been on for a long time. But basically anyone born between September the 18th and December the 18th is not actually a Sagittarius. This means that all the other signs, their birth dates gets pushed up about 15 to 18 days. So, now what does this mean? How does this really work? Why does this even apply? It's because the oldest clock on Earth is the moon, and it has 13 faces. So that means the real month out of every month in a year has only 28 days. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it changes all the math with like how we count the calendar. And the Western calendar is way off, but don't worry, right? I'm here to help people understand like kind of the real signs and what's really going on.
So what about if we find out we are not actually the signs we thought we were? That might really mess us up.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. See, the sign, your astrological sign, is just a way of a filter of how your soul expresses through the human personality. Okay, but the human personality is very short-lived, but it gets most of its information from your own soul. And the key in life is to bridge your personality desires, your willpower, your hopes, your dreams, everything that you aspire to be, and to align it with the power and the will of your own soul. And this is one of the keys of this system, is that it's less about the vanity of astrology. Like, for instance, a lot of people who've never done astrology, they'll try to ask me questions like, "Hey, Omarian, can you see if I'm going to get married this year?" So my answer usually is like this: well, do you want to get married? Because you can if you want. You don't need an astrologer to tell you that. But it's like asking me if I can see that you're going to drink water because you're thirsty. It's like, I'll tell you that there's a cup. Just drink as much as you want. But in terms of predicting, a lot of people are only understanding astrology in terms of predictions. But that is like only 1% of the power of the knowledge of astrology. Astrology is designed to help you know thyself, to connect with who you really are, and to everyone else as well in a really healthy way. So yes, I can do predictions, but it's more about optimal potentials based on your free will choices in alignment with the harmonics of the stars or planet you live on. So it's all possible. I can see windows of opportunity like that if people ask me, but what I like to do firsthand is to get people to know who they are first. So the prediction reading is usually like number 9 down the road. We don't do that first. We help you get to know you. The personality aspect of your sign is just the first step. Then we get into a reading that's called Star Lineage. And that's when I talk about literally the star system in the galaxy that you really abode from before you came here. And if you're an Arcturian, a Palladian, someone from Overton, the Andromeda Galaxy, and why. What does it really mean? Because these are subtleties of the soul. But they do express in the human being. And it's really funny. The human being is kind of like a dream board of the soul. Like everything that we do to our bodies and our personalities and attach to it, it's just like how we have a vision board and we keep putting pictures on this whiteboard to create a dream and a future that we want to live. That's what the soul is doing with our personality. It is constantly trying to adjust it to create the future that wants to live inside of and express through. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I remember you gave me a reading, like, I'm thinking 6 years ago, and I was in the middle of coming...
2012, yeah.
Oh, well, there was this one particular reading that stood out. It was about 6 years ago, and I was coming through this, like, massive portal, and it was like coming through the ozone of the earth. Like, it was so rambunctious, and the energy was so intense. And I remember you feeling, it's time for you to get a reading. So we got on the phone, and the things you were telling me were literally so far ahead because it's what's happening right now in my life. You told me that I was going to be working with high ascended masters that are going to be teaching and communicating and helping people get to this place that we're speaking about today. And I was coming through so much that I couldn't even believe that this was a possibility. I was thinking, are you kidding? I'm just trying to get my stuff together right now. And how am I going to be like the communicator and like working with people? But it was like, it was birth after birth after birth. Like you said, you keep evolving. And I finally, like, it feels like I always am stumbling along as I get here. I guess that's the natural feeling as we are all discovering ourselves. But I finally got to this place that you had predicted 6 years ago that I would be doing what I'm doing right now, which is crazy. And of course, you're the first interview. So I want to ask you some more questions. Number 3, so how can it show, okay, so you kind of covered this. How can it show people what kind of star lineage they have? So you kind of went over that a little bit. The question I am getting a lot from people is, how do I find out? Like, is there a way that is there a test to take online, or how can I personally, if I can't like reach out to Omarian, or is there like a way they can get close to understanding? Like, I have some ideas. I'll give you some ideas that I've told people. First of all, I said, do a lot of research on all of these groups and see which one resonates with you and which one kind of feels the most like you, right? Watch videos, get channeled material. That's one. What was that?
Always do your own research at first. Just everything's online. You can do, but it sometimes takes a while because there's a lot of disinformation out there. And I've seen that over doing this legacy system for over 22 years.
Yeah, I tell people to be careful.
Even in astrology, there is a type of dogma. Like, how religion has its own dogma,
right? But
a lot of the truths of life are still there. Astrologers and astrologer book writers and the history of astrology is littered with a lot of dogma. So I've spent a lot of my time over the last 20-something years sifting through the dirt to find the real gems and the diamonds to put together a concise system. But yes, you can look up Pleiadian star lineage, Arcturian, find out which constellation you come from based on a questionnaire. There's so many out there.
Right.
But the more exact way is just simply give me your birth data, including the time of day that you were born, AM and PM, and the location. That's very crucial. Without that data, which I highly recommend people get from their birth certificates,
right? Then
I can lock it for you and explain where you really come from.
And your legacy, your legacy readings are a little bit. I don't know if legacy readings is something that's just created by Omarian, or if it's something that has been around for a long time, because I feel like you curated and collected many different versions of astrology, right? This is a blend. It's your own. It's your own specific blend.
That's the thing. It's like anything, right? Being a famous singer, you find this unique way of expressing the notes because you understand the meaning behind each vibration. And you learn to look at the planets very differently than mainstream systems, so you can see the mystery and secrets behind, as you say, the common understanding of things, because nothing is what it really seems to be, So my profession has led me after all this time. I do astrology for astrologers now. It's one of the things I'm getting involved with. Because I help them see things that they have not seen for years, to help them understand themselves too. So exactly. And all right, to answer your question, what part of the galaxy or galaxy I'm from? So what I've been finding out is that, like a lot of us, I am directly from galactic center, but Lyra is my nearest stop-off point.
Yes.
I had to add that to the mix.
I remember you gave my husband a reading a while back, and you said something that he is still repeating to this day. And you told him that he has a very futuristic type, because he's a trans channel, but he has a very futuristic type of nervous system that's like 5,000 years in the future.
500.
500.
Yes.
And he has been repeating that ever since. Because that explains a lot for him, That's the only way he can explain his feelings and emotions that are so finely attuned here on this planet.
Yes.
And so that's really cool that you can see that in your star charts. So let me get to
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One of the indicators of what I saw in his chart, it had to do with where his Uranus was positioned in his chart. And I do remember that discussion with you, and I'm glad you guys realized it. He said into the future so fast.
Yes.
He pulls things in that are so advanced,
Yeah. Okay, next question. Okay, so what other types of readings have you developed beside this? This is your main form of reading, right? Which is legacy reading.
Yeah.
And then there's other Go ahead.
Yeah, I offer about 13 different types of readings, corresponding to the 13 moon cycles in a year. The first reading is called The Foundations of Self. It's where we discover what is your path in life, like how are you supposed to walk your talk, so to speak. What is your destiny? And what is your fate? And how do they actually blend and correspond and interact with your free will? How does it really work, you know? So just to clarify, the path is like, it's not necessarily like a job you're supposed to have in the first reading. Don't clarify that. It's mainly about how you express yourself to the world around you. Mm-hmm. And if you are adhering to your soul's destiny, your path. And the destiny is another word for destination, meaning when you walk your path and you arrive at your destination, who will you become when you arrive at your destiny?
That's really good.
Yeah, and then once you get there, the fate is another word for the gift. What will life gift you? What will you find the gift within? Or will life present you with an experience that you never knew could be gifted? Like, what is the result of you walking your talk, walking your path, and becoming who you are meant to become, you know? And we're all doing that anyway, but it just depends on how we get there, and then if it's really a healthy arrival or not, you know? So that's question number 1 out of 4.
Well, I can understand why you had to do this, because people's questions are so in-depth, and you go in so many layers and nooks and crannies inside of a person's makeup that I could see why you've had to separate it out like this.
Yeah, exactly. So I found that people, you know, they do a lot of self-help courses. They take a lot of workshops of self-understanding. But these questions have never really been asked them their whole life. Right. So from birth to the grave, sometimes they never know the answers to these questions. And in reality, like for instance, Oriah, if I was standing with your parents when you were born, and I would have plugged in your birth data, I would tell them the same things that I told you when you got your reading. And then they would have been way more prepared to understand what you're coming in, what you're dealing with when you came to this planet, and what they have to kind of really focus on with you, you know what I'm saying? And it's all perfect and divine. When you met me, when I met you guys, and we did the readings eventually, it was all divine timing anyway. But nonetheless, you know, it's just a wonderful tool. But like any tool, you get to this point eventually when you get the full, complete reading and understanding, and you exercise those mechanisms within the tool. Like any tool, like when you use a tool to build a house, one day, you don't need it anymore, you know. Yeah. You put the tool in a drawer until the day you need it again, you know. So I never keep people addicted to what I do, you know. Yeah.
I remember when we first met Omarian, it's very similar to how some of the people met on this forum. We opened the door and we were seeing you for the first time. My husband and I were just looking at you. You were looking at us for the very first time. We had never laid eyes on each other. You were living in Laguna Beach, I believe, right? Right across
Corona del Mar.
Corona del Mar, right across from the ocean. And we found you online. Anyway, so we show up, and the way we connected was through, we started laughing. We opened the door, and we started laughing at each other because we...
You were on my right, Riz was on my left. We just looked at each other, and we started laughing.
We just started laughing like, here we are in this timeline. Oh my God, we found each other. We had never met before. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about being on a secret mission on Earth? That's what it felt like when we saw you guys.
I mean, it was like
a piece of the piece of the feeling of the memory came out, but I was like in my head, I was like, what just happened?
That's how I felt. Definitely a Galactic Federation type of experience for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5. So share with us what you know about the creators and influencers of men and women. That's a heavy question.
I know, right? Okay, so like I always say, take nothing I say as absolute truth, you know?
Right.
It's only, the knowledge that I have is only part of the story. That we're all a part of it, right? So there's a lot of speculation, even from the archaeologists and book writers who have translated cuneiforms, one of the most ancient languages in the world, to describe the history of how humanity came to be. So, just to clarify, I'm a big believer in consciousness, in love, in true knowing, wisdom, in the right use of power, and in the Creator. And I'm a big believer in God and Goddess. And we are the son of these two and the one. And I don't mean S-O-N. See, when you hear the term the Son of God, okay, it's actually S-U-N. That means you and me and everyone listening to this. We are the sons of the Creator, right? We are the light that has one task, just to extend, the divine. So, that being said, there's still a lot of drama between there and here. So there's a lot going on. So, definitely. I mean, it's like a huge soap opera. So
it is true.
I'll talk about like one group right now. Okay. From the things I've been piecing together through my personal experiences that were verified by me finding documentation much later after I would have certain experiences. So I'll use this phrase, the Anunnaki.
Right.
Now, if you've noticed, I just want to clarify this too. If you've noticed, do you remember when 2012 was right around the corner, Oriah?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how a lot of men were writing books, making videos about the destruction of the earth, right?
Oh, and yeah. End times.
We're all going to die in a flood.
Right. End time conversations.
Yeah.
I remember that.
What I realized about that, like right around 2011, I woke up one morning and I was like, wait a minute. None of the women are saying this.
Yeah, we're pretty quiet. We were like watching.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. Yeah.
Right.
Because just being real, if you guys felt that we were all going to die in a flood, all the women would be waking up and be like, you guys need to get off your butts and build an ark like now.
Right.
Okay. But all the women would just chill.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized that prediction was kind of a dark projection of the dark side of the male psyche. Death and destruction and like end of the world, okay? But then I just was like, no, watch the women, what are they doing? They look cool, okay, yeah. Because you guys are basically like catfish of consciousness. Like if there's an earthquake, you guys jump out of the lake before the earthquake hits, right? So that's how I was looking at everything. So everything I'm about to share with you, it's not to shock or scare anyone, but it's actually to put a perspective here of what's going on, okay? So a lot of men have this dark perception about the Anunnaki. If you watch a lot of videos on YouTube, they say things like, oh, they are controlling us, they did this to us, they did that to us, and it's kind of like this victim part, right? But I have a different take on it, and here's what I mean. There is something in astronomy that there's a big mystery about where the asteroid belt in our solar system really came from, the original size of the planet Earth, and the devastation that has been found geographically and through the science of geology, of recent events that have taken place, mass extinction events on a global level, roughly about 11,600 years ago. So this is something that happened almost overnight, not weeks or months, literally like one entire 24-hour cycle, and everything was changed in a heartbeat. This scattered a lot of people, all of our genetic origins, where we really come from, our histories. And we've been recovering ever since. I really believe we are still, like so many people say, the human race, the physical embodiment of the human race is still walking around in mass amnesia to what really is going on. Okay, but the soul construct and the memory that we keep uploading to our soul every time we have an experience, it tries to come through and teach us things about what happened in the past, where we come from, and why, But speaking about the Anunnaki history and the pieces that I've been piecing together is this. There's an interesting analogy here with a lot of the ancient religions, ancient philosophies of different cultures. And I started to see this pattern that I want to share with you in one here. So forgive me if I get the names Chris Ross. It's been a long time since I've said this and spoken of this, especially online. Enki. Okay. He's the son of Anu. Anu in the Anunnaki civilization was basically God the Father. And Enki was one of the children. Then there was another brother. And he goes by the name of basically Loki.
That's where they got it from, okay. Probably.
You get this? How this works, right? So the movie Thor that came out that you ironically mentioned in this talk, It's coming from this ancient pre-Sumerian history written in stone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's even pre-Egyptian, pre-Babylonian, pre-Sumerian. So we're talking about a civilization that is hundreds of thousands of years old. Okay, and honestly, a lot of our religion and a lot of our philosophy comes from like something much older than our present civilization. So we just keep passing, paying it forward, bringing the knowledge to the next generation. So Enki, he was considered one of the main creators of humanity. Now, there's a lot of speculation about this. I do not pretend to know all the details, okay, of how this happens scientifically or physically, intergalactically, but I can share with you kind of this is like, no matter how deep the story is, on a human level, it's kind of like a preschool version of the truth. But Enki was the one who supposedly took the DNA of his own race, and according to the cuneiform writings, the ancient dialogue, their average lifespan, the Anunnaki lived for about 22 to 26,000 years from birth to death.
Wow.
Okay, so let me put this into perspective here. So when we meditate or do yoga, how long do we take as humans in a day? Like what, 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a lifespan of 26,000 years, a meditation cycle for you is a few years long. Okay, a good one. A really healthy long one, right? So Enki was supposedly mixing his people's DNA with the DNA of some of the primates on this planet, biologically creating human beings. But I want to be clear about something here. A lot of people know this already. A lot of people may say, yeah, I already know that already. But this is something interesting that I started observing before. All right. You ever notice how, if you ever had a reading from a clairvoyant person, or you may even have had a dream, or some of you may even have seen this yourselves with your own eyes, or your intuition is telling you this. You ever notice how some of us, we always have this quote-unquote guardian angel next to us that's much bigger than us?
Right.
Okay. So I want to make something very, like, kind of unveil something with this, right? So we're so used to thinking that this physical body is who we really are. Okay? But I'm here to share with you that just this one possibility. What if that thing that people keep seeing, the guardian angel, is actually you? Okay? This physical body, this carbon-based quantum machine, right, is the robot, the remote control car of you, the guardian angel, okay, that's standing in a different frequency that this robot can't really perceive fully.
Or some people call it higher self.
Yes.
And avatar.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, right? So this is how my mind understands what the Anunnaki really are in relation to us physically. Okay. A lot of people write stories that they are separate from us. They're a different race that's interfering with us. Okay. But I see it slightly differently. Like they are us in a lot of ways, helping the physical automaton that they designed that has also part of their DNA. That's the best remote control car or drone you could ever have. It has part of your DNA. So it listens to your telepathic and empathic heart commands, right? Okay. So we, in the physical form, we feel these things, but we think it's just coming from us, but it's coming from a greater part of us that is us at the same time. And the thing I noticed before I want to back on the story of Enki and his brother, is what I started noticing as an astrologer is a lot of my clients call me with questions that are health related. And I've spoken to a lot of people who know people who have been in a coma for a long time. And what I started observing was a lot of people, and this is very common too, in coma wards, when a lot of people come back from long-standing coma in the last months or years, they come back and they're totally different personalities than that person are. Okay, so just cut to the chase. I see coma wards as used car lots for souls. Okay. Yeah. So basically, when
it's a great way
when the original owner is like, okay, I'm done, I'm out. I need to leave this here and sell it. Okay. Another soul's like, I'll take that little one right there. Yeah, that one, right? That's 6 feet tall, and I'll take that.
Yeah, people have
so
come back with completely different languages, speaking different languages and different memories, different backgrounds from when they went into the coma.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And sometimes it's another part of the person's own psyche that rolls to the forefront.
Right.
You know, it's not even a different role. But me sharing this viewpoint with you is to say this. You see, as an astrologer, what I've learned is that when you don't listen to the commands of your higher self or guardian angel or your Anunnaki version of who you are, right? What happens? That's when we experience the most pain. Accidents, you know, and even coma or even worse, okay? It's really funny to watch, okay? But there's a truth to this. So this is what I started realizing, that when we meditate and we get really still, we learn to be healthier in our lives. It's teaching us to do one thing, just to get real quiet from time to time and listen. Because there's a part of us trying to tell us exactly what we're here to do and why. And the more we listen to those commands and do them, we have so much more momentum to get things accomplished faster. We collapse timelines when we listen to the inner voice more. It never lies to us. It never leads us astray. It never tells you to do something that is going to put you into immediate danger. You know, it's really wonderful. But of course, our egos, our alter ego, does the opposite, right? It tells us things that make us miserable and painful. So this is something I noticed. So I bring this back to the Anunnaki perspective to kind of eliminate a lot of the biasness and the prejudice about this civilization or this race of beings.
Well, I have a question about that, the Anunnaki, because I have had a negative experience with them, and I hear a lot of people who have. So I want to share it really quickly with you to see if maybe you can make heads or tails of it. I had come out of a very deep ceremonial sacred plant medicine journey, and I had, I guess, attracted, because I've channeled many entities during my experiences, but I attracted I felt it was a group, like a small group of Anunnaki, and they got into my body, and I felt it immediately. I knew something was in there, and they were with me for about 3 days. Riz wasn't even talking to me by the time the third day rolls around. He was so over it. He was mad. He was telling me that I am just like not putting my foot down and getting them out of there. But I'll tell you why I couldn't get them out of my system was because they reminded me of, like, imagine in school the bad kid who's always whispering in your ear, like, go do that, do this, do that. You know, like, Earth sucks. Like, it's boring here. Like, they're trying to be super cool. They know you better than you know yourself. They're just toying with you like a cat and mouse thing, and they're just like, why are you so uptight about Earth? It's like nothing. Like, that's how, you know, and I don't know if that's like reverse psychology or what they were doing, and it could be.
That's so funny.
But I remember this. I believed it 100% because they were using my internal framework. So I thought it was me talking to myself. But the words coming out of my mouth, the way I was speaking to Riz, he was like not having it. And it wasn't like Oriah's having a temper tantrum or something. It was more like I was talking weird and different, and I had a weird look and everything. So I've never had a good technical experience with Anunnaki, but I'm open to understanding the evolution or higher self.
That's the thing right off the bat. The only thing I can share with you about that is that they, like animals, there are good ones and bad ones, just like people. That's just the reality, you know. And it's all about who you let in and who you choose to associate with. Is the key, you know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, did you finish your story about Anke? How do you say his name? Enki.
Yeah, Enki. Yeah. So it's interesting because in the story he actually has 2 other brothers. Enki is he's kind of exactly like the Nordic version, the pantheon of the gods in Nordic religion. Mm-hmm. Enki is Thor in Nordic religion.
Okay.
Get it?
Yes.
Enlil, his brother, it translates as Loki. Okay. He actually has a third brother, and I think Yeah, that's how it works. It's Enki, Enlil, and then Set.
Right.
And that's translated all the way to Egypt. There's three brothers. Now, the second brother was considered the fairest one. He was like really beautiful. He had golden light around him all the time. He was invulnerable to any harm or attack and all this beautiful stuff. The way they describe the second middle brother, it's kind of like Christ. And then the third brother, like Loki, in the cuneiform texts, is described as like, they never describe him, this is the interesting thing, they never describe him as part of the family genetically. They actually describe him as a reptile, the third brother.
Wow.
Now, it's interesting because with Thor movie, remember how Loki was coming from he was a frost giant child? He wasn't actually part of the family, right?
Right.
So that story in Hollywood came from this ancient story in Norway, and that came from all the way back to Sumeria. But the story is pretty much exactly the same. So here's how it goes. Enki started manufacturing human people, humanoids, by mixing their DNA, his people's DNA, with the primates on this planet. But I don't believe it was just one. If this is true, if this story is even possible, I don't believe it was just one type of primate. I think it was a mixture of a lot of them, because you have different types of people that act like, personality-wise, even in human groups, they act like specific, separate primates, these specific parts of the world. So some are more aggressive, some are more passive, some are more playful, some are more like creepy. But the original story dictates that they created us to do one thing, was to mine gold for their society. Okay. So basically, the mainstream story is that they came here to use us, to make us as slaves just for them.
Right.
I'm not saying that didn't happen to a certain degree, okay? But I have a different take on what he really was trying to do. Here's why. Because a lot of the information that I was coming across over the last 10 years was he got busted by his own group. His father, he went into a council meeting for centuries, basically deciding on what to do with him, because he broke a lot of laws creating us in the first place. And here's what I want to say about this. The Anunnaki supposedly have a rule amongst their own kind that they're never allowed to hurt their own kind or attack their own kind. Okay, so Enki had committed a very grievous act by creating us against the law of his own father, but it's in this one respect. The cuneiforms basically state that when we were first created, we weren't allowed to reproduce. We weren't genetically designed for that. But what he did, I think somewhere along the line, is that he removed the cap on that ability for us. So we were like, one day we were like mules. As soon as we were born, it was like the end, we couldn't reproduce. And we just worked until whatever. But then he removed that lockdown on our genetic code. Gave us the ability to reproduce. Now you have to think about this beyond the narrative that people try to keep fitting into our minds, that we're just slaves and we're just being enslaved all the time. This is what started occurring to me. If all of us on this planet, if this is true, we all have Anunnaki DNA mixed in with the life forms here. And civilizations revere them as gods, and they live for 26,000 years and all this stuff. When people talk about 12-strand DNA and unlocking your full potential, this is kind of what they're talking about. It's unlocking that part of your DNA.
Right.
Okay. And so the other thing is that, according to the narrative, he was in prison for what he did. So he was forced to become an immortal man for about 11,000 years. He could never die, but he had all the limitations as a normal human being for roughly 11,000 years. Now, supposedly the narrative is saying that around this time now is when his immortality gets released. His sentence of being here on earth gets released in the times we're living in right now, which is fascinating. So let me give you another piece of the story. So 3 brothers were in charge of this planet by the father Anu. And Enki wanted to do this with us. As soon as we were created, we were seen as a threat by the race. They were race. Because one of the things they'd never liked to do is what he did, is to give the genetic power of their race to beings like us, our physicality. Because I know that human beings are souls and where we come from in other parts of the galaxy, it's even beyond what we're talking about now. But in terms of the human genetic genome operation that's happening here, there's something that's going on that's very hidden. So here's the thing about the rest of the story. When Enki was found out by his father what he had done with us, they had this rule that they're not allowed to give beings like us that kind of power, that kind of genetic power. So we started uncoupling our DNA, which the Human Genome Project right now is discovering that there's a lot of breaks in our sequencing in our DNA that should be linked. Okay, that would give us much more than the abilities that we currently have as people. So they supposedly, the story goes, they could have prevented the first flood that happened. That's even talked about in the Bible. They could have readjusted the orbit of their own planet to adjust our gravity and access on our planet so we wouldn't have the flood, but they decided to just let it happen in the hopes that we would become eradicated from that flood. So a lot of people are saying today it wasn't just a weird flood, a storm. It was actually this impact event 10,000, 11,000 years ago that changed everything real fast. Some people say it's a meteor, some people say it's a crash UFO, some people say it was a weapon. You know, who knows? But basically what people are really discovering now is this. The three brothers in the story, they were all given dominion over what to do with humanity after the first flood, when we were still seen to have survived this extinction event. So Enki did his best to meet with his father, to keep us alive, to give us a chance with our free will to do what we're here to do, to figure things out. Okay. The good brother, his idea was to give us the knowledge from every civilization simultaneously on how to, quote unquote, conquer the animalistic part in us and align the Anunnaki part, quote unquote, the God part, as one, and to reach what's called the ascension process. Okay, so the good brother, his job, what he decided to do was to give all races and civilizations the knowledge, the books, the teachings, the meditations, the yogas, all of that stuff, to align the animal with the divine, which is unlike any other creature supposedly that has ever existed in the galaxy. Now the story in like Chinese films of the Monkey King, Han Monk, right? This is a story of an animal that has the power of the gods. It's a story about us, all of us. You get this? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And that was his struggle. He was trying to conquer that rage in the animal part of him that broke its way into heaven. But he was used as a weapon against the dark forces to shatter the gates of heaven, right? And then he figured out he was being used as a tool. So the third brother, Set, or Loki, his idea that he wanted to do with humanity was to basically eradicate us all. His argument was, you cannot teach these beings compassion or love. They either have it or they don't. So we should just end them now, just cause mass genocide. Okay. So what Anu did, the father, according to the stories, that he gave all three brothers complete dominion over the same earth at the same time to execute their plans. So there's three plans happening according to the cuneiforms. Okay. So Enki, the symbol for him is the eagle and the lightning bolt. Where have we seen that before? Like with Zeus, right? America. Okay. Right. They even say that this country, North America, North and South America, is actually governed by Enki, his power. The Asian countries, the symbol of the serpent or the dragon, was given governance over his good brother, and that's where all the medicine work comes from. Chinese medicines, herbology, all the knowledge of this stuff, healing comes from the Asian countries, and the wisdom teachings, right? That's his domain. And then Australia and parts of Africa were given to Loki. to enforce his might over the humanity in a very dark way. You know? So that's the narrative, so to speak. Now, my perspective of why I think this is going on, okay, with what Enki was trying to do, wasn't just to make us into slaves. I think he figured something out about his own race, that something is going wrong with his own people. He knew it. So what I want to say to you is, to cut to the chase, I think human beings, he created us to be like genetic hard drives to store the forgotten memories of his own race. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're like hard drives.
Yeah, totally.
We downloaded into each one of us this massive, important memory packet, and we call that DNA. Okay? But it's not really sequenced incorrect, so we don't really remember. This is what I'm saying. Like, life is not as linear as people think. Mm-hmm. If you do indeed have the DNA of these kind of beings, imagine if you had just 1 week's worth of memory of one of their lives. What would that do to you and your consciousness in your life?
Yeah, I mean, look at how people are handling just the information they have had in just their lifespan now. They feel maxed out, burned out. Their hard drives are that. I mean, that's what I really work with, is helping people defrag and decode. I wanted to say two things before we continue. I don't know just as far as technology goes. So when I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, I know what's happening is that we're coming across looking somewhere else, not at the camera. So I'm going to try, because this is our first time, I'm going to try, and you too, we'll just look directly at the camera when we're talking to each other, because then people feel like they're connecting with us. I want to go back to, we have a lot of Australians that are watching, and I don't want to leave them with, you're doomed, it was dark, and it's over. So give them some hope, Omarian. Give them some good news.
That's the basic narrative. And so the hope is all of this is lifting. I mean, all of the control that Loki left on the planet and has kind of sown through our entire society, it's all being lifted in a certain way. But the timing of when that's going to reach its completion, who knows?
Right.
Okay, so here's the thing. One of the things that they were saying in the narrative of this story is that we have more power than we could possibly imagine as human beings, and it's all about the emotions.
Yes. Woo.
It's emotion and memory. Right. Okay? So one of the things, I just want to jump to the chase here about something else. So one of the things that's, when you're talking about knowing who you are, expanding your consciousness, on whatever level you are, I mean, if you already think you're 1 inch away from ascension, that's great. If you're just beginning to understand who you are and to feel things, like what you said on the phone call the other day, Oriah, said some of these people are just beginning to understand that they're listening to dolphin songs and they're feeling something and they want to know why. Right. See what I'm saying? So everyone is in the right place at time. But it's all about the memory. If you can really remember who you really are, it changes everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just by me coming out and saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just saying, we're more than who society tells us we are. And this is not to be against society. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But when you start discovering who you really are, everything changes. And then you start to add to society in a really beautiful way. It's better than you could imagine.
It's so true. And I've known that I've been Palladian for a long time. And I never really spoke about it out loud with anyone because I didn't really know what to do with that information. And a lot of people don't know what to do with this information. Like, well, what do I do next? We're so programmed to have a call to action, right? So the second we find out any information, the little, the little animal in us is like, okay, so what am I supposed to do with this information?
Scramble.
And I tell people, you don't have to do anything with this information. This is simply for you to understand how deep you are and how powerful you are and your lineage, your DNA lineage.
That's right.
So when I finally, when I finally came out and said I was Palladian openly, this is when I finally got like some energy around it because it was my true authentic self. And I have been trying to talk to people about my work and my husband's work for 10 years. And, we got some feedback here and there. But it was when I said, screw it, you know what, people, I'm Palladian. Here's where we're at. And then everybody was like, okay, I'm listening. Talk.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's the thing. Like, I'm glad you're at this point because you start realizing how funny life really is. You're not what you were.
I talk about that all the time. The humor behind the drama and the humor behind what these godlike experiences are. You think our celebrities are representing gods? I mean, this is a drop in the bucket compared to the gods that are playing with us and who we are. I mean, even in ourselves, like we have our own God self, our own, like people say, Christ-like consciousness and crystalline energy. You know, it just all comes from this very advanced intelligence. So let me see if there's another question, because I think we're doing really good. We're almost closing in, I think, on an hour, right? Getting close. Okay, so let's talk about high councils, alliances, a little bit about the Galactic Federation. I know that's a completely different video. I know we can go on for hours on the Galactic Federation. So before, I know that we can't really go into depth with that. But people have asked me, which alliance are you with? And they've asked me, what is the High Council? So all I could do is go off of my own intuitive downloads and the experiences that I've had in sacred medicine journeys, where I've had councils meet with me. I've had dreams where I'm in meetings, council meetings. A lot of people have had these experiences where they're in circular rooms with very advanced wisdom teachers, you know, ascended masters that are giving instructions. And you know, I've had dreams where we're breaking down codes of DNA that are it's such extremely advanced conversations that were so casual, and I come back into my body and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I know all of that, right? And there's also another video we could do just on dreams, because there's a lot of information in dreams. Oh my gosh, that's like a portal. I mean, that's, if you really want to get to know who you are, study your dreams. You know? Okay, so let's talk for a second about High Council and alliances. So, you know, it's interesting because there's channeled material out there in the form of books and videos and trance channels who have channeled this material, including my husband, to whatever degree have channeled about this. And I still don't know exactly where I stand in some of these conversations, and I'd like to know your opinion. For instance, I've heard that the Palladians have a king and a queen, which I have never gotten that information. I always just saw it as a unified high council, but I never got that there was a king and queen. I felt like humans created that because we need to see that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we have to see a king and queen and royalty. You know, I don't see royal heritage or lineage in any star system. That's not an advanced way of thinking. That's just what I feel. Well, but can you bring some words together?
I think humans have debauched that archetype so bad over the centuries that we have a stigma about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's true. Like, I like to play around that I am the queen of the elves, but how many other women also feel like they're the queen of the elves? So there's a lot of queens. There's a lot of queens.
I'm saying, yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of queens. There's a lot of kings in reality. Yeah, exactly.
So it's an experience. It's an experience. If you feel that you're a king or a queen, I say congratulations, more power to you, because you're in your full expression. But always remember, kings and queens, if you're really looking at them accurately, they are of service. So kings and queens,
I was just going to say
they're not authoritative in this sense.
Nailed it.
Right.
That's it. Yep. That's the definition of what it means to be a true king and a true queen.
It's being of service, 100%. So if you are a king and a queen, congratulate yourself, but also know that came with scars, and that comes with being on the field, working with the people, not sitting on a mountaintop directing orders, but you are working and healing people and bringing food and love and communication. So that's a true king and a queen. So I'm willing to play along with the idea of Palladian kings and queens and Arcturian kings and queens, or wherever the lineages go. I mean, I'm interested. But, okay, so let's talk about High Council. So have you had experience with High Council in any planetary system?
I will tell you, I haven't had a direct experience, but I will tell you something that happened to me with a good friend of mine who passed away in 2011. He used to work for the movie industry. He was called a movie doctor. He would go in and do all of the computer animation for movies when they needed to get this scene done right before post-production.
Right.
And they were freaking out, so they hired people like this. This gentleman, he told me something about me that I wasn't able to confirm until the last 7 years of my life. So he basically said, without giving away too many details, that I was kind of like a Robin Hood of the galaxy before this physical embodiment. And I would go around, saving for the rich and giving to the poor in a planetary level. And I broke a lot of rules. And eventually I was brought before the Galactic Council, and they sentenced me to life on Earth.
Wow.
So
well,
I don't know. What?
That explains a lot. I mean, a lot of us feel like we've been sentenced to Earth, and I have asked in jest, I've asked my own guides, like, so what did I do that was so wrong? What criminal galactic crime have I committed that I am sentenced to this planet? But it is a great place for us, how I look at planet Earth, it's a great place for us to have concentrated time and focus to learn about how to create with your resources around you and internally to uncover and understand who we really are. And in doing so, the other layer is you're unlocking any kind of perceived feelings of entrapment, prison, ideas of slavery, galactic slavery, any ideas of programming, brainwashing. You could deprogram yourself from brainwashing. And so these are the things we're all here to learn together and share. And there's so many different species here, and there's so many different hybrids here, like full-blown alien hybrids amongst us.
One of the recommendations I would make is to look up the there's a book that every president is given when they step into the White House and become president. It's called the Book of Aliens. It's a CIA catalog of all of the extraterrestrials that live amongst us. It will blow your mind when you just see a smidgen of what's in this book.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And people walk around saying, I don't believe in aliens, but your next door neighbor could be a hybrid. So you never know.
Pretending to be, this is Molly.
Right. And furthermore, Omarian, we are all hybrids from our origins, making us all aliens, if you would like to look at it that way.
Yeah, exactly. We're all aliens. Someone's coming from somewhere.
So people say, I'm a native of Earth, and then I say, but Earth is very young. Where do you think Earthlings came from? So these conversations, it's a rabbit hole. You go down the rabbit hole, but like if you pay attention, like Omarian creates, what I love about the way Omarian speaks, and if you guys are noticing, and this is just the tip of the iceberg with Omarian, okay? But he creates these lattices. So, and I love that style of teaching. That's why he's one of my favorite teachers. Is I believe a good teacher is somebody, as they give you concepts, they back it up with a foundation and sources so that you can have like a lattice to stand on as you continue to go to the next levels, not just blowing through a conversation. Hope you pay attention, hope you catch everything we just said. That's not the intention. Good teacher is somebody who instills information and knowledge, but with the intention of you actually grasping it, understanding it. And we could have even we went a little fast today, but we wanted to cover as much ground as we could. And as you could imagine, Omarian, I mean, literally we could do a series, which we probably should. Yes, because I'm sure people want to know about gods and goddesses in more detail and more about the mythology and more about the dramatics, because that plays a huge part. I mean, that's our solar system. And talk about the Queen Cassiopeia and talk about, I mean, this is some real stuff. So do you want to say anything in closing before we go? Because I know that we're reaching the hour mark, and I know we can keep going, Omarian, and I would love to do that. But is there anything you would like to say before we close today?
I just want to say, keep learning, keep loving, keep sharing, and protect everyone who you love, and help the world, because it needs you, because you're so important no matter who you are.
That's right. And for those of you who are interested in lightness and darkness, the light and the dark, this contrast, this yin-yang phenomenon, obviously we can't demonize darkness. I mean, we're in the womb is dark. When you're injured and you go to heal, you heal in the dark. Darkness is soothing. There's love. There's the beginning of creation. There's black holes. There's dark energy, you know, in space, or what is it called?
Dark matter.
Dark matter. So there's unknown possibilities within darkness. So don't demonize darkness, and just understand that when you are focused on working in the light, so to speak, what you're doing is you're focused on a higher vibration, and that vibration is love. And many of you are coming back to remembering this. It's not that it's never been instilled in you from birth. You are actually coming to the planet already with this information. It's in your original hard drive. It's just that you have been inundated with so much media and so much brainwashing and so much agendas. Everyone has an agenda. So what you're doing is you're emancipating yourself from all of this, and you are breaking free and breaking through. So that's why many of you who have been talking to me on our group, a lot of you have been feeling tingles, ears ringing, buzzing, you can't sleep, you're having a lot of activation symptoms. Some of you are scared, and I just want to say to you, you should be thrilled. There's nothing scary that's going on. You're actually shaking off the dust, and you are arising. So you are now going to be stepping into your God self, and you're going to be stepping into your higher self. And let me tell you, when that ship sails, there's going to be another planet. And if there's another 10,000 Oriahs and 10,000 Omarians and 10,000 yous, imagine what this planet is going to be like. So this is how we're going to raise the vibration of the planet. This is how we're all going to work together. It can be done on your internet, on your Zoom, text, Facebook. Use your social media platforms. That's what this is all about. That's why it was given to us by the aliens. You have this technology for a reason. And the Native Americans, the Hopi Indians, said the spider web is going to be coming that will change the world and end civilization the way we know it, and to advance civilization to the next level. It's coming through the spider web. This is the web. And so we are in it right now, Omarian.
World Wide Web, yeah.
Right.
Transforming everything.
So if any of you want a reading with Omarian, which I recommend everybody get a reading with Omarian, we will give his information down below and his website. Omarian, do you want to share what your website is?
Yes, it's omarianatman.com. OMARIAN as in Neptune. A, T as in Tom, M as in money, A as in apple, N as in Neptune.com.
Now,
and for everyone listening to the show, I'm going to give you 50% off your first reading.
Whoa! You guys are so lucky. Can I tell you, he does much more than just astrology. He's also a light worker. He works with light and sound. Is it light frequencies? Therapies,
yes.
Different types of technology.
Yes.
And it's all on his website. There's so much that he works with, and healing the human body from dis-ease, from... there's so many people that are suffering right now in their health that can use many of your services. So there's that. So he recommends that when you sign into his website, there's a membership form, and as soon as you sign in, you can directly book and schedule yourself right there on the spot. Right, Omarian? And you're in direct contact with him. Yeah. You know, you guys, once you have us on your team, this is the dream team, okay? Add my husband to it.
Yeah,
when Riz gets involved,
exactly.
oh my God.
Comes on board, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys. Namaste. I am so honored to be with you around the world today. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Blessings.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.